and then we'll take it higher. We're gonna rock onto Electric Avenue. Oh, what's up, everybody? I like to make loud noises so my neighbors can hear me screaming. Welcome to the DynamiteGizmo podcast, everyone, episode 200. And guess what? 276. 276, my fine feathered friends. 276. Here's today's card. It's tradition around here to show you the card, but it's not tradition to show you what's on the card, but you'll find out anyway because we'll talk about it. You know what I can do? You know what I can do for that? When I say, here's today's card, it's tradition around here to show you the card, but not tradition to show you what's on the card. You'll find out anyway because we'll talk about it. I could use the fight prediction sheet. This could be the card. Here's today's card. Dude. Here's today's card. It's tradition around here to show you the card, but it's not tradition to show you what's on the card, but you'll find out anyway because we'll talk about it. Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe that's what I'll start doing. Because we will have this every fucking week, basically. That's what I'll start doing. It's tradition around here to show you the card, but not tradition to show you what's on the card until later. But you'll find out anyway. But it's not tradition to show you what's on the card, but we'll find out later because we'll talk about it. Huh? Anyway. UFC 322 is over, baby. And it was, what a great card, dude. Wow. What a fantastic card that was. One of the best, if not the best of the year. So, it was just excitement after excitement after excitement. It was so nice, dude. I loved it. I loved every fucking second of it. It made my lips quiver in anticipation for what was to come next. Every fight was just beautiful. Sometimes you see a stacked card and you say, there's no way this is going to disappoint. And it does. But this one didn't. It did not. And the welterweight division, dude. My God. It's stacked. It's been stacked all year, and we're going to talk about it in the first segment of today's episode, but I just need to touch on it right now. Welterweight is stacked. Dillon Danis is never getting into the UFC now, which we'll talk about that soon. But before we get into anything, I do need to show you the fight prediction sheet, which I slightly teased at the beginning of this episode when I said, here's today's card. It's tradition around here to show you the card, but it's not tradition, it's not the card, we'll talk about it. Here is this week's fight prediction sheet. Because this weekend we have Tsarukyan versus Hooker, okay? This sheet is available for you to download for free. The link is in the description. Download it, print off a bunch of copies, have your friends over, have a nice fight night, make predictions on fights. You want to know what the sheet is and how it works? Well, look, it's got the early prelims, the prelims, and the main card. If we zoom in to, let's go into the co-main event here, okay? It's got this number here is the order in which the fight happens. This is the 13th fight of the night, the co-main event. It's got the weight class, it's got their names, it's got their Vegas betting odds, it's got their nicknames, it's got pictures of the fighters. You check off vote for the fighter you want to vote for. It also has their fight record, their rank, the country of origin flag. You check off vote for every single fight of the night before any of the fights happen. Check off every single vote box. Okay, at the end of each fight, you come over to this side, check off who actually won, and if it matches who you picked, you check off the star. At the end of the night, you tally up all your stars, and you go all the way down to the bottom right hand corner here. Tally up your score. Bada boom, bada bing. How'd you do? Okay. There is also little fucking facts on the side here. You can read about the fights, whatever you want, dude. Put your name down in the bottom right. There's little note sections. Bada boom, bada bing, dude. Get your fight prediction sheet now. It's available for free right this very second. And remember, the fights can change. Predictions and odds will change. The order in which the fights happen may change. So if you're going to download it today, just be leery of that, because by Friday it could be different. I do update them right up until Friday. Okay? So it's best just to wait till Friday and then print it off, okay? And you don't even have to print it off for you and your friends. Maybe you just want it for yourself. That's fine too. Get one for yourself. It's fun, okay? It's fun and easy to keep track of what's going on throughout the night, whether you do it by yourself or with friends. Yabba dabba doo, I'm going to have a sip of my Nalgene. It'd be nice if I had a co-host or something. Then I could take a sip while someone else talks. But I don't, so you're going to have to sit here and listen to me sip. That's a fat mouthpiece, dude. If you've got a fat cock, you can fit it right in there. Even if you got a small cock, it'll still fit in there. Anyway, before we get into the welterweight division, which is going to be our first segment of the day, I just want to talk about a couple things before we get into this. Ethan Ewing. Ethan motherfucking Ewing. This dude comes in on 48 hours notice, goes up against Malcolm Wellmaker, one of the biggest prospects in the bantamweight division. Someone I've been high up on, someone the world has been high up on. Everyone involved in the UFC knew that Malcolm Wellmaker was a star in the making. But it's the same thing that happens a lot. It happened with Peyton Talbot. Same concept, same idea. Round one knockout kind of guy, even in the bantamweight division as well. But the difference is Peyton Talbot faced a guy who's been in the UFC for a bit. Ethan Ewing came in on 48 hours notice. Malcolm Wellmaker was supposed to fight Haddon, but it got canceled. And Ewing stepped up to the plate. And he didn't just win against Malcolm Wellmaker. He gave Malcolm one of his toughest fights he's probably had ever. It was fantastic. It is an amazing, amazing fight. You want to talk about a guy who's now got lots of aura overnight. This is the new prospect. This is the new up-and-coming prospect we got to look out for in the bantamweight division. Although maybe he's featherweight. I think they fought at featherweight or something because it was 48 hours notice. Either way, another up-and-coming prospect that we absolutely have to keep our eyes on, okay? Let me just show you what this motherfucker has to say for himself here.
The last 48 hours, Thursday morning, I woke up past my alarms. There's about 25 missed calls on my cell phone. And they said, hey, the UFC's calling. You better get up and get ready. And so I went. I cut weight before they even said yes. And then there was all sorts of medicals I had to go get done. So I drove all around LA till about 8 o'clock at night. And then I jammed straight to LAX. My brother drove me all around. And then I jammed straight to LAX. Flew out at 11 o'clock, got here, sat in traffic, got to the hotel 7:30, 8 o'clock, went, jumped on the scale, and then obviously the rest has come to fruition. You know, fighting an MSG, pro debut on 2 days' notice, and now I get to sit here and do media with you guys.
Was there any hesitation at all, or was it just like UFC calls, you're like, I'm ready, let's do it?
No, zero hesitation. I've known that I belong here for a long time. I'm on a now 9-fight win streak, 7 of those by knockout. Only 2 have gone the distance, and so I've been ready for the stage. I've known for a long time. I've expected that I would get to this stage, and so, yeah, as soon as they called, let's do it. We'll jump on a plane. We'll do all the medicals and weight cutting we need to.
Hallelujah. You know, I obviously put money on Wellmaker. I said to myself, okay, I thought Malcolm Wellmaker was going to win against Haddon. Sure. It was close, but I was like, I think Malcolm Wellmaker's going to do it. But then when the fight got canceled and it was announced that Ethan Ewing was coming in on 48 hours notice, I said to myself and the rest of the world, oh, now we're guaranteed a Malcolm Wellmaker win. We'll probably get another round 1 fucking right hook. There's no way Malcolm Wellmaker's going to lose. And I was proven wrong. And you know what? I'm glad I was proven wrong. I like this man. I've listened to a lot of his interviews, a lot of his own social media, whatever he's had to say. And this is a good motherfucker. Follow Ethan Ewing. I said the same thing about Peyton Talbot. I said the same thing about Malcolm Wellmaker. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say the same thing about Ethan Ewing. Let's see where it goes, dude. One of these guys has to fucking prosper. Okay? And one other thing I need to talk about before we jump into the welterweight division is this. So John Kavanagh, who is, or was, and I guess still is, Conor McGregor's head coach. He went on the Ariel Helwani. He went on the Ariel Helwani show earlier this week. I think it was Monday. And, of course, Ariel brought up the idea of potentially having Conor McGregor come back specifically for the White House card. And it's not coming from Conor McGregor's mouth, which is actually a good thing, because nothing that comes out of Conor McGregor's mouth is that truth nowadays. Back in the day, he spoke nothing but truth, and it was beautiful to listen to Conor McGregor speak. But listening to him speak nowadays, it's like this coked up fucking roided monster is just spitting whatever the fuck comes to the top of his dome out of his goddamn mouth. You can't trust a word that motherfucker says. So hearing from John Kavanagh that the idea of Conor McGregor coming back for the White House is looking to be that way, it's a nice, somewhat solidifier that this is probably going to happen. But again, it's Conor McGregor. We saw the fuck around. He likes to fuck around. Didn't used to like to fuck around back in the day, but he does now. So let's see. We'll see. John Kavanagh didn't like straight up say, yes, it's happening. He didn't even say that it... Well, let's just watch it. Let's just watch it. Okay? Enough talking out of my mouth.
On our end, we're 100% in. You know, he's asked me to basically lay out a program between now and June of how we'll ramp up our training. He's showing up again. He's back in the gym most mornings early.
Wow.
And yeah, he's having fun with it. But I got a bunch of messages after the show on Saturday night. He wants to fight everybody.
Yeah.
But certainly he wants to get on that card. So how it works from a management point of view, that's between them.
Sure.
So I don't really get involved in that. But from a training point of view, he's already tasked me with putting together, a team of suitable training partners. We'll do some of it in the gym, some of it in his house. So he's fully locked in that we're going to be making the walk in, 6-7 months?
Yeah.
So, they're doing stuff. They're training. They're getting ready. They're gathering guys together. They're preparing for it. Is it going to happen? I won't believe a goddamn thing until the second Conor McGregor steps his nasty black ass onto that White House lawn. Until right up until the moment that he steps into the octagon, I ain't believing shit. And I seriously mean that. Because you know how this goes. All right, we've had dates set. We had dates. UFC 300 was supposed to be Conor versus Chandler. That's what it was. Or maybe it was 303. One of the two. That's what it was supposed to be. They had the posters. It was ready to go. It was signed. And he broke his pinky toe. And he couldn't show up. And then it was signed again. And it canceled. And yabba, yabba, yabba. So until he steps his ass onto the canvas, because literally anything can happen right up until that moment, I'm not believing anything. But let's jump into our first segment of the day, which is the welterweight division. I need to talk about the welterweight division. And I've talked about the welterweight division, welterweight division, welterweight division, welterweight division. That's a funny thing to say. I talked about the welterweight division earlier in this year because it was stacked then and it's stacked now. It's still stacked. It was stacked then, but it's even the stackedness is still there, but it's even better now because look at the people rising up. It aged like fine wine. We said it then, and it's clearer than ever now. This division isn't just stacked. Right now, it might be the most stacked welterweight has ever been. Now, I'm not saying it for sure is, because maybe the 2013 year of the welterweight division could possibly be the most stacked welterweight has ever been. But this gives it a run for its money because we still don't even know where these guys are going to go. They're still just on the cusp of their prime, like they're just getting into their prime, and they're fucking dominating. Look at the chaos we had earlier in this year. Sean Brady defeated Leon. Ian Garry defeated Prates. JDM defeated Belal. Morales defeated Burns. Usman defeated Buckley. Then Prates came back and beat Jeff Neal. And there was all kinds of madness sprinkled in between, which I don't need to go over every single one now, do I? And that was just the beginning. All of that built up to this card this past weekend where Prates knocks out Leon Edwards, Morales knocks out Sean Brady, and Islam hands JDM his first title defense loss, claiming himself a second UFC title. A double champ. What a year for welterweight. And the craziest part, heading into next year, things are definitely not slowing down. They're getting even more insane. And that's not even counting this weekend's card, which is about to add another wrinkle into the picture, which we'll get into that later. But let's talk about where everyone stands right now. Carlos Prates is now ranked number 5. Michael Morales is now ranked number 3. Two absolute killers who had huge breakout moments this year. And Carlos was even on a downfall just for a second after he lost to Ian Garry. And who would have thought that Carlos is now ahead of Ian Garry on the rankings? But again, we still have this weekend, but we'll get into that in a bit. A few episodes back, I mentioned something that people were not sure about. That the UFC might be quietly pushing Sean Brady away from title contention. And based on how things played out last weekend, that's exactly what it looks like. Sean Brady and Ian Garry agreed to fight back in October. They were supposed to headline the RDR versus Allen card, but the UFC said, nah, and rerouted everything. Instead of fighting Ian Garry, Brady gets Michael Morales. And we all saw how that went. First round knockout. So let's just take a look at the rankings of the top 10 that we have right now. Right now, as it sits, right now, who do we got? The champion, Islam Makhachev. Number 1, JDM. Number 2, Belal. Number 3, Michael Morales. Number 4, Shavkat. Number 5, Carlos Prates. Number 6, Ian Garry. Number 7, Sean Brady. Number 8, Kamaru Usman. Number 9, Leon Edwards. And number 10, Joaquin Buckley. Like, what a... Wow. That's a beautiful top 10 list, dude. And here's what makes sense to me. The winner of Ian Garry versus Belal Muhammad should be the next title eliminator to determine who fights Islam. Simple, clean, it makes sense. It's the next in line. Ian Garry beats Belal that puts him in the number 1 ranked position. So why not fight for the title? Then you set up Carlos Prates versus Michael Morales as the second eliminator. The one that decides who gets the next shot after that. But time is tight. We only have 3 cards left in this year, and then boom, we're into January 2026, which means a key player returns to the board. Shavkat Rakhmonov. He hasn't fought once this year. Last time he fought was December 7th, 2024, beating Ian Garry. He's been sidelined with an injury, but according to him, he'll be back early next year. I think That's what the rumor is anyway, and I believe he did say that. And man, imagine if he hadn't missed this whole year. Where would we be right now? The division is still stacked, and would have been still stacked, but the storylines would have looked wildly different. Because remember, back in May, Shavkat was originally supposed to fight Belal for the title. But the injury pulled him out, and JDM had to step in. He wins, and then he ran into Islam on his first title defense. But let's play the what-if game. If Shavkat fought Belal, he probably would have beat Belal. Let's be honest here. He would have beat Belal. And then Islam's next opponent would have been Shavkat. And in some alternate universe, that could have been the fight that stopped Islam from getting his second belt. Now, I'm not saying Shavkat definitely wins, but I'm saying he has the best chance out of anyone in the top 10. Because honestly, who else has a real chance against Islam? Who? I mean, really. For me, it's Shavkat and Kamaru. That's the list. Okay? And I know what you're saying. Oh, Kamaru's washed up. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, aside from Joaquin Buckley and all this. And he doesn't deserve... I know. Okay, I agree. But I actually agree with Islam when he says Kamaru is the only guy at welterweight who could truly challenge him. But the issue is, Kamaru doesn't deserve a title shot right now. He's on a 1-fight win streak, like I said, beating Joaquin Buckley in June. Before that, 3 straight losses, Khamzat and Leon Edwards twice. There's no universe where he gets first dibs at Islam next. No way. You gotta reward the guys who earned the spot. If people really want Kamaru versus Islam, then fine. Put Kamaru against Shavkat or against the loser of Belal versus Garry. Let him earn the title shot. And even then, does he beat Islam? I don't think so. I don't even know if Shavkat beats Islam, but he'd give him a better fight than anyone else in the division right now. And listen, I love everyone, almost everyone in the division. Prates and Morales are 2 of my fucking favorites, dude. How could they not be? But I don't think either of them beat Islam. Prates is the first man to KO Li Jingliang, Jeff Neal, and Leon Edwards. But even still, I still don't think that's enough to take out Islam. And Ian Garry, great fighter. Love him or hate him. But beating Islam? I don't think so. Not a chance. Now, later in December, we'll talk about my official predictions for every division heading into 2026. Small teaser. I think a lot of these current champs are about to hold on to their belts for quite a long time. Just saying. But one other thing we got to think about, okay? We also have Ramadan from February 17th to March 19th. Which means Islam probably won't fight during that period, and I don't see him fighting in January or early February either. So it's not guaranteed that the winner of Belal versus Garry even gets him right away. Because I can easily see Carlos Prates fighting Morales, another title eliminator, which pushes Islam's next defense until after Ramadan. Kamaru Usman can sneak in a fight in the meantime, and who knows, maybe that ends up lining up perfectly, and Islam gets his wish of defending against Usman. Now, just because Ramadan exists doesn't necessarily mean Islam stops training completely. Some fighters do continue training through Ramadan. Belal has done it, but strategically the smarter move is usually to avoid pushing hard during that period. And it's because they don't eat. They fast all day. But anyway, what do you guys think? Is welterweight the most stacked division right now? Is this the peak? Or have we seen nothing yet? Or does it compare, or does it not even compare to what it once was? You got to let me know, dude. All right? Sigh. Did I forget to show clips or anything? Oh, no. We don't got any. All right, now we're going to move on to the next segment, which is what I really wanted to talk about. which is Dillon Danis. I like Dillon Danis. I truly do. Dillon Danis has so much potential. Like, stupid amounts of potential. Unbelievable amounts of potential. This guy could genuinely be one of the biggest stars in MMA, specifically in the UFC. He has the charisma, he has the hype, he has the love him or hate him energy that just prints money, dude. You're going to talk about Dillon Danis no matter what the fuck is going on with him. But over and over and over again, he finds a way to sabotage himself. And honestly, that might actually be part of the reason why he's so popular. Despite never even stepping foot into a UFC octagon. Every podcast, every interview, every casual conversation, he always circles back to one goal, and that is becoming a UFC champion. That's the mission. That's the obsession. We all thought that dream died after the Khabib-Conor brawl. Dillon basically became public enemy number one overnight. But time passed, tensions cooled, and somehow, here he is again, front row at UFC 322, smiling, waving, back in the atmosphere he's always wanted to be a part of. And if you don't know what I'm leading up to here, well, let me catch you up. This past weekend at UFC 322, Dillon Danis was in the audience. Things actually were looking great for once. He was dapping up GSP. He was chilling with Alex Pereira and Plinio. Just vibing. Then the main card hits. And John Anik, Joe Rogan, and DC are mid-commentary when suddenly Dillon Danis gets into a massive brawl in behind them. And the Muslim Brotherhood just completely swarmed and tackled him, as Dana so eloquently likes to put it. I've got a clip here. Now this angle is the angle from behind that shows like straight from the inception of when it happened to the point where they kick him out. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but we'll just get into the bits and pieces here. So you can see John Pork is right here. John Pork, right here. This guy's head's in the way. Huh? Yep. We're getting chairs involved. Muslim Brotherhood, dude. Muslim Brotherhood. Lots of punches. Shawiwis makes an appearance for a brief moment, too. Which, I mean, that's basically it. We don't need to show the whole thing. And to this moment, it's still unclear whether Dillon actually started anything. This video makes it look like Chanko, or John Pork, just decided to unload on him out of nowhere. But according to Dana, Dillon was sitting in their seats, and that's what sparked the whole thing. So who really knows? I don't. But let's hear it from Dana himself.
Can you just tell us how disappointed you were to see that and any insight into the fallout?
I blame myself for that, actually. They came back and told me right before I walked out for the main card that Dillon Danis was here and he was moving around sitting in fighter seats and not sitting in his own seat that he had. He had a ticket. And they said, do you want us to throw him out of here? And I said, he has a ticket? And I said, yeah. And, you know, they told me, they said, Masvidal said he's going to fuck him up on sight. And I said, well, where's Masvidal sitting? He said, well, he's 6 or 7 rows away from Masvidal. I said, well, if the guy has a ticket, let him sit in his seat and let him do what he's doing and keep an eye on him. It never even crossed my mind, as stupid as this could be, that the entire Muslim Brotherhood was here tonight in the first 5 rows for Islam. And as soon as it broke out, I was over on the other side, and I go, fuck. I know exactly what that is. I knew it. And yeah, you will never see Dillon Danis at a UFC fight ever again.
Can you just
Yeah, so there you go. So Dana, according to Dana, he was sitting in their seats. I don't know. I think I have another angle here. I do have another angle. So let's check out this other angle. This is from the front. This is the front view. Let's see. Yeah. So you see Chanko just getting some slugs in there. Woo, they're all punching. Dillon's on the ground and he's up kicking. Not much damage to Dillon though. Not a lot of damage to Dillon. Never usually is. And of course, Dillon Danis is the one who has to face all the repercussions. Again, he's now banned from attending UFC events, and who knows if it's permanent, because I'm sure he was banned after the Khabib incident too. But meanwhile, Chanko and the rest of the Muslim Brotherhood were escorted out as well, but they didn't receive any real punishment besides missing the rest of UFC 322. And remember, Chanko just signed to the UFC after this win in the Dana White Contender Series in the summer. And here they are watching Islam win while they were in their hotel room. I have the clip here.
Отлично! Ислам, double champ! Нахати смотрели.
Every one of these guys got a shot in at Dillon Danis.
История умалчивает, почему?
There's the clip. Yeah. So they had to watch from the hotel room. Okay? And then the next day, Chanko did an interview with Red Corner MMA and gave a slight explanation for why he threw the punch. It didn't really answer much, but what it did do was confirm this. The Muslim Brotherhood absolutely despises Dillon, and anytime those groups cross paths, chaos. Guaranteed every time, dude. It doesn't matter what the situation is. If the Muslim Brotherhood is going to encounter Dillon Danis anywhere at any time, they're punching, dude. They're punching. They don't deal with the disrespect like that.
Даже разбил, потому что на фотографии видно.
Да, вот здесь чуть царапина. Обзу, походу, я не знаю, куда. И этим тоже чуть вот здесь попало ему, вот чуть шишка появилась.
Я надеюсь, ты же только в него попадал, ты там не кому-то, так скажем...
Не, охрана не попал, хоть хорошо. Никого не попал. Только его бил. И все.
Ну, сейчас единственное...
Ну, реально, это, я считаю, даже это мало. Извиняюсь, что перебил, но это и мало для него. За его поступки это мало. Такие вещи не прощаются. За каждое слово ты должен отвечать. У нас такие приоритеты, что ты сказал, ты должен за свои слова ответить. Но он... Это для них, видишь, они, у них, я не знаю, как они живут здесь. Что хотят, говорят, могут семью задеть. И для них это ничего. А для нас все, каждое слово, это все для нас святое, и нужно отвечать.
А ты же кулак, да?
So I'm not really sure exactly what the fuck he's talking about. Like, I know Dillon talks shit, and he has talked shit, especially during the Khabib times, but I don't know if there's something specific he's referring to. I don't know. And look, Dillon is hated by a lot of people in and out of MMA. The guy has a real talent for getting under people's skin, like across the board. And honestly, that's exactly why the sport needs him. Someone who adds gasoline to everything. There is nothing I want more right now than Dillon Danis versus Chanko. That fight would sell like crazy in the UFC is what I'm talking about. Okay? Jorge Masvidal was actually at UFC 322 as well, and before the Brotherhood even got near Dillon, Masvidal told Dana that if he sees Danis things are going to go down. But luckily for Masvidal, Chanko got to him first. And I have a clip of Jorge going over that right here. Let me zoom in a little bit.
Said he's going to him up on site. You will never see Dillon Danis at a UFC fight ever again.
Peace out, bitch. He did get his ass beat by the Muslim Brotherhood. They stole it from me because I was literally on my way to whoop this motherfucker's ass. They've been sending a couple messages, and I was like, all right, cool. You keep sending these messages, brother. We're going to have to see each other. As I start walking towards my seat from the VIP room, I run into Chanko. I'm like, what's up, man? The police is all over me. I go, what happened, brother? And he's like, nah, just chilling, bro. All good. And I see his hands are blood, and I'm like, nah, something happened. What happened with you, man? Look at your hands. He goes, no, all good, bro. A little problem. I took care of it. And I go, all right. So, bam, I took a picture. I keep walking. And as I'm getting closer to the arena, to the stands, the UFC starts coming running at me. You stay right here. Don't move. What just happened? What'd you get into? And they're grabbing me. They're holding me. And I'm like, bro, I just literally got here. Luckily, the UFC always has me with two glorified babysitter security guards, because every event they got two bodyguards on me everywhere I go to make sure I don't cause no trouble or get in no trouble. So those guys vouched for me. They were like, nah, man, he was with us. He ain't do nothing. Literally, I just got here, brother. I wish I could have done something. So by the time I got out to the main event, all the good fun was taken away already. Dillon Danis had already got fucking mopped up, kicked in the fucking face. They made him eat shit, made him lick the floor, and then they kicked his ass out and banned him. So, sucks for you, pussy.
Masvidal said
A lot of Dillon Danis, a lot of people hate Dillon Danis, okay? That's just the kind of, that's what he does. People hate him, okay? Now, the problem is, Dillon Danis is getting up there in age. He doesn't have much time left before he's officially too old to make it into the UFC. And before this incident, he was right there. He was right on the cusp. He had just become the Misfits champion. He was keeping the peace. He wasn't causing trouble. He was getting his name out through Ariel Helwani, Michael Bisping, all kinds of platforms out there. Even Mick Maynard attended the event where Dillon Danis won the Misfits title and congratulated him. Let me just move back a little bit here. He was this close. And sure, Hunter Campbell declined his offer to go into the Ultimate Fighter because he thought Dillon would be too much of a problem, cause problems. But honestly, what's the issue? As Dana always says, this is the fight game. Shit goes down. If things were squeaky clean all the time, it'd be fucking boring. All right? And at first glance, I looked at the situation and I thought to myself, yep, Dillon's chances are completely done. Squashed. No UFC for this motherfucker. But then Dana was asked whether he wanted to press charges against Dillon, and he said no. Sure, Dillon got banned from events, but that's it. So it's not like he completely wants to dismiss the motherfucker. So why not take all this chaos and turn it into something massive inside the UFC? You couldn't script a better rivalry. Dillon has years of history building up around him. Controversy, beef, attention, hype. He would sell like wildfire, especially against a guy like Chanko. And even if he gets smoked against Chanko, even better, the villain loses. Fans love that shit, dude. Logistically, yeah, probably a nightmare. But is it worth it? Absolutely. He's 32 years old right now. The window is slamming shut. I still think he can get in, and I honestly think he will. And when he does, it'll be fucking huge, dude. But what do you think? Are Dillon's chances completely dead now? Or is he simply too big, too chaotic, too entertaining for the UFC to ignore? Hanukkah. I love Hanukkah. Excuse me. I'm not picking my ears. I'm just putting my plugs back in. Plugs? What plugs? What are you talking about? Oh, don't mind me. I just got plugs in my ear. You don't know what I'm talking about, and you don't need to know. All right, the final segment of the day. Of the episode. The final segment of the episode. It's a good one. What's wrong with my hat? Whatever. It's a little crooked. There's nothing wrong with being crooked. Okay? We can't all be straight. We have to talk about the UFC card coming up this weekend. It's actually a bangarang. Okay? A UFC Qatar. Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hookums. This is the second last fight night of the entire year. And honestly, they couldn't have done it better. Solid card. Solid card. We've got Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker in the main event, and Belal Muhammad versus Ian Garry in the co-main. To me, this is pretty clear-cut. I'm not even going to struggle with these picks. This isn't like UFC 322. Okay, but here's the thing. I love Dan Hooker, all right? Just hear me out. Most people do. He's one of the most entertaining, gritty, leave-it-all-in-the-cage fighters we've ever had. He lives for chaos. He thrives in violence. This is the same dude who literally started his own underground MMA promotion, 1 Minute Scraps, where random people off the streets duke it out for cash in New Zealand. If you want a bloody stand-up, absolute fucking war, Dan Hooker is your guy. But the problem, he's going up against Arman Tsarukyan. I was a little late on this clip. Whoopsies.
Shoulder. Social, tell me when you're good. Okay. Facing forward.
Yeah, just doesn't give a fuck.
Shoulder.
Dan versus Arman. They're standing off in front of what looks like a grain bin, maybe? Arman is 100% not going to stay on the feet with Dan. He's going to shoot for takedowns. And guess what? He's going to land them. There's no doubt in my mind. This could even end quickly in round 1. It's a brutal matchup for Dan. But, and this is important, even if Dan loses, it's not the end. He'll bounce back. He'll get another opponent. He can turn it around and work his way back towards a title shot. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but Arman was actually supposed to fight at the beginning of this year in January. His last UFC fight was April 2024 on UFC 300. When he beat Charles Oliveira. That was the last time he fought. And in January of this year, he was scheduled to fight Islam for the lightweight title. But he missed weight. And because of that, the UFC basically froze him out. No matchup since then. And honestly, Arman would have given Islam a very hard time. They fought once before. It was actually Arman's UFC debut. And it went to decision. But since he missed weight, he's been keeping himself busy in some grappling matches. He fought in Karate Combat versus Makasharip Zaynukov, and he won. He was in ADXC versus Patricky Pitbull. He won that one. He was in ACBJJ versus Benson Henderson, and he won that one as well. He's been training at the training lab with Coach Cal, one of the best fucking coaches in the sport, which we talked about him when Khamzat was training for his matchup against DGP. Same coach. And we saw glimpses of Arman's skill at the same time when Khamzat was about to fight Dricus, because Arman was also training with Khamzat during that period as well. And on top of that, Arman had a live grappling match with Khamzat not too long ago. And he actually kept up with Khamzat the entire time. Super impressive. And I highly recommend watching it. I have a slight clip here. A slight clip. What is a slight clip? Why not a clip? Let's just skip ahead here. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but this is Arman. This is Khamzat. I'll skip around here. Anyway, they were doing good. Specifically, Arman was doing good. To keep up with Khamzat like that's super, super, super duper impressive. I'm also just seeing right now, I saw this while I was at the bank today. Apparently, the Mighty Guru show is over. I don't know what's going on, but that shit's canceled, I guess. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I can't talk about it because I don't know. But anyway, let's get back into this. There was a real chance Arman could have taken the title from Islam. All of that makes this matchup incredibly risky for Hooker. But huge respect to Dan for stepping up. And here's the fun part. Dan doesn't like Arman at all. He calls him a lippy rich kid. Dan said he wanted this fight. He knew nobody else would take it because of how Arman pulled out in January. So he went straight to Hunter Campbell and Sean Shelby and personally asked for it. He knows he's the underdog. He likes being the underdog. He wants all the pressure on Arman, and he wants to show he deserves to be in line for a title shot. Because that's what this fight is. The winner fights for the title. Not necessarily next, because lightweight is a fucking mess right now. Is it going to be Paddy? Is it going to be Gaethje? Is it going to be actually the winner of Arman versus Dan? Is it going to be someone else? We have no idea what the UFC is cooking. But Dana did say this.
Earlier this week, you scheduled Arman Tsarukyan to fight Dan Hooker in November.
Yeah.
And will the winner of that fight become the #1 contender in the lightweight division?
Will the number of that? Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Dana.
Yeah. Yeah. He just says yeah. Which that honestly doesn't mean anything. He just casually said it there, so I don't know. But anyway. Dan is confident. Super laid back. Classic Dan. I'm heavily favoring Arman here, but I would be happy as a pig in a pile of shitty mud if Dan knocked out Arman Tsarukyan. Absolutely. Arman is just a terrible stylistic matchup for Dan. But the risk, the reward is totally fucking worth it. You can tell Dan has a sour taste in his mouth about Arman. Every interview he does, he's talking about him, and Arman's not innocent in this either. He's talking about bringing his boys, maybe even approaching Dan at some point and, I don't know, beating him up or some shit outside of the UFC event that they have scheduled. Because Dan was on Ariel Helwani a few weeks ago, and this happened.
I asked him about this potential interaction and the relationship between you two. Here's what he had to say. I'd love for you to hear it and maybe respond.
He's going to talk a lot, but a lot of brothers coming, and hopefully he's going to, they're going to stop me, you know?
Oh, my.
And, yeah, I shouldn't do some crazy things. I just got to be focused because I'm going to have 25 minutes to beat his ass. He can do whatever he wants to do. He's going to have 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And if he wants, we can fight, and after fight, we can fight again.
What?
But not before.
So he says a lot of brothers are coming.
Ooh, fuck. I've never been jumped before. But who cares? Who cares? Who cares? I've had my ass beat more times than you've had hot dinners, brother. You think that scares me in any way, shape, or form? You're off your head.
You got some pretty tough brothers on your side as well, just for the record.
I got some pretty tough brothers, but I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy, brother. I'm not that guy. I've heard him as well. I'm not that guy. I don't go get no one in my life. You beat me up, I'm not gonna go get anyone else to come and sort it out. I'm not gonna hide behind anyone. I don't need brothers. I have brothers, but I'm not that guy. I don't go and get people.
I mean, how could you not like Dan, dude? There's a fruit fly flying around here. How do you not like Dan? He's just so likable. He's so relatable. That's the kind of guy that he is, and that's why I like him. Okay, now we're just going to touch on Belal versus Ian Garry really just slightly, because we're getting deep into this podcast here. I'm more excited about this fight than Arman versus Dan, which, by the way, is a fucking such a good fight. But this one, because I want to see Belal get his fucking ass smushed. I want to see his face get smushed into the canvas. There is absolutely nothing about Belal that is intimidating or worthwhile watching to me. Yeah, sure, he can get the job done, okay? He was on a 10-fight win streak before JDM and all that, but come on, man. What is he actually going to do to Ian? Seriously, no disrespect, but he's not beating Ian. There's just no fucking way, especially if he's talking about throwing hands with Ian like he always does, that stupid Canelo hands thing that he keeps saying. Oh, it's taking forever to load here.
You've never been hesitant to give a very thorough and broken down prediction. What are you going to do to Ian Garry in there on Saturday?
Honestly, for me, it's I think Ian's going to try to run around the whole first round. But then by the end of the first round, his little point jabbing is not going to work. Then I'm going to grab a hold of him. I'm going to take him down. I'm going to let him back up just because I want to show him that I could take you down if I want to. And then I'm going to outbox him because he said he could outstrike me. He thinks he's a pretty striker. He's been in there with some great strikers, right? He's been there with MVP. He's been there with Shavkat. He's been there with Pratis. And none of the guys finished him. So for me, it's finishing him on the feet and then reminding everybody who I am.
Damn, I mean, that would be a hell of a statement, but what does it do here? I mean, obviously the elephant in the room, Islam is now the champion. Does this change your future plans here? I know you've talked about maybe middleweights, like, is that in play? Or what do you think the victory, if you get it the way you want to, what does this all mean?
I mean, we're looking at Jake Paul. No, I'm messing with you. For myself, it's only focusing on one guy, man. I don't want to look past anybody. I'm only looking at Saturday.
Shut up, man. What are you talking about, bro? You know, everybody looked past, right? I don't know. We'll see. He's not beating Ian Garry. Whoops. I accidentally closed my webcam. My bad. Let's get that back up and running. Ah, glorious webcam. My bad. Belal has zero aura. I'm sorry if you're a Belal superfan, which I guarantee there's not one out there. But come on. His nickname is literally Remember the Name, and nobody remembers him. Nobody even wants him around half the time. The UFC themselves misspelt his name wrong on their official YouTube channel. Like, what are we doing here? Belal tries so hard to be relevant. So hard to look intimidating. So hard to make himself the villain or the standout guy, but he just isn't. And I seriously want Ian to mop the floor with him and shove him even farther down into the rankings. Belal had his 30 seconds of fame with the belt. Let's not let that fucking happen again. Please, for the love of God. Ian, what do you have to say?
Belal has had a lot of success at doing what Belal does best, which is mixing it up. He should continue to try to do that. However, there is not a chance in hell that if he stays on the feet with me, that he survives past 5 minutes. There's not a chance in hell. If you want the genuine reaction of what I believe that video is, that's a man lying to himself. That's a man who is playing reverse psychology and is going to tell the world that he's good enough to do whatever he wants, when realistically he knows he has to grab a hold of me. It sounds like he's already making excuses. I'm going to grab a hold of him. I'm going to let him up. So he's going to grab a hold of me. He knows I'm going to defend. And do you see what I mean? You see the way the thought patterns I'm seeing? The big M at the start. You've spent 8 weeks. What do you mean? You've been thinking about this every day of your life for the last 8 weeks. You have an idea in your mind of how it's going to go. You don't need to stutter. You don't need to pause. You don't need to have a breath. I just think he hasn't learned from his last fight if he has this approach.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's lying to the world. I can tell you right here, right now, I'm going to beat Belal anywhere I want. But I plan on knocking him out in the first round. I can promise you this right now, Mike. If he shows up and tries to box me, he won't land a single punch. That's my promise to you right now. There's a reason I look this good after this fight will be my 17th professional win. It's because I don't get hit that much. Belal, honestly, I don't want to get irritated, but there's just no world where he shows up and tries to outbox me. And if he does, he's an idiot.
I agree, dude. But there's no way Belal is going to win. There's no way Belal is going to beat Ian Garry. Ian, on the other hand, has a great track record of backing up everything that he says. He's got the confidence, he's got the aura, he's got the star power, all the stuff you need to shine at the top of the division. And he's good. The problem? He's not beating Islam. I'm sorry, but he's not beating Islam. Not a single chance in hell. I would love to see Ian Garry as champ. Love it. But as long as Islam's there, it's not happening. If Ian can't get past Shavkat, which he didn't, how is he going to get past Islam? It ain't happening, my brother. It ain't fucking happening. Okay? And that's our final segment. There was a couple things that happened this past week. Dana White was on the Flagrant podcast, which is, what's his name? Andrew Schultz. Andrew Schultz's podcast. He was talking about how he doesn't want to put John Jones on the White House card. He told a story about how Francis Ngannou grabbed him by the shirt and grabbed Hunter Cannell by the shirt and threatened them and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Okay, Paddy Pimblett is going to be in Qatar this weekend because one of his teammates is debuting, which is going to be sick. And then one final thing, I just want to show you this here. Paddy is really confused why the UFC hasn't announced the Ilia Topuria fight, which makes me think he knows something that we don't. So I imagine we're going to get that announcement pretty soon here. Who knows when? Maybe, probably after UFC 323, which is coming up in a week or two. And then we got one more fight after that, and then 4 weeks of no UFC. Whew, it's going to be rough, dude.
You know, me and Topuria's got the storyline built in. It's all there. It's half nice for me that he won the belt, even though I don't like him. I'd rather him not be a 2-division champ. It's better for me that he won the belt because if Charles would have won, then I definitely would have had to fight someone else first. You know what I mean? But with Ilia having the belt, it's just a storyline's already set up. It's all ready to go. Exactly. So I don't know. Don't understand why it's not announced and why it's not already made and written in a contract. But we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. You know, me and
So, I mean, we all knew it was coming, but we don't really know. Like, it could be Gaethje, it could be Paddy, or they might actually be setting up this weekend to decide who's actually going to fight. But who knows? We'll just keep rolling with the punches, baby. And just so you all remember, this fight's in Qatar, so it's not the normal pay-per-view time. Okay? Whatever time you normally see cards at, it's not going to be at that time. For me, it starts at 8 a.m. For you, who knows? So go take a look. Also, the fight prediction sheets are available. Link is in the description or in the bio. Go download them. Go print them off. And that's it for this episode of the Dynamite Gizmo podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please just go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell. Okay? Whoopsies. And, oops. Bye.